Hi everyone, welcome. As promised, we are moving forward with our cafe project in Revit. I am picking up from the last video that I created. I would like to, in this next video, to show you how do you create a wall. How do you create a wall at a specific depth? How do you maybe create a wall that has a different material? How do you create columns? We have 2 square columns and 2 round columns in this cafe, and they're pretty large. I'd like to show you creating them as structural columns like we've also done in class, but maybe talking through also an architectural column. I'd like to show you placing a door, and then I think the next video is going to be just creating curtain walls for that exterior wall. Okay, so let's get started. So I have not changed anything from the previous video, so I'm just going to zoom into the areas where there's some interior walls. Let me point them out. I believe you can see my cursor, but I'm going to basically zero in on it also. So I'm going to build this, this 3-wall west side area first. How do we create walls or systems, or aka components? In Revit, we usually are under the architecture tab. This is going to be a wall assembly system, so I'm just going to open up the wall component. You can see we have 3 options for our walls: wall architectural, wall structural, wall by face. We're going to be very simple. I'm not going to get too complicated or too creative. I just want to get us some experience drawing in Revit, and then we'll move further along. But we're going to grab the wall architectural option. We're looking at a basic wall generic here. I have not zeroed in on the wall. We don't know what the depth of this wall is. So first, in the quick axis toolbar in the upper left hand corner, because I have all of my options for tools checked on, the one option that is going to help us a great deal in this little video is basically measuring between 2 reference points. So I just want to select the depth of the wall. So I'm going to select this. I am going to select, notice intersection is popping up, but if you prefer to see an object snap like midpoint or endpoint, by all means, by moving along the line, or I should say the front face of one of the walls is beneficial, all depending on how you like to work. Object snaps in Revit are automatically on. You can turn them off, but really they're super beneficial with building and understanding constraints in the program, so I highly recommend you keep them on. And mind you, how you change them is through the file pull-down menu called Options. But in this case, I literally want to select the midpoint of one side of the face of the wall to the other. I can snap on the left side of my mouse one more time, but as you can see, if you zero in or zoom in, immediately I have a temporary dimension off on my left-hand side. It's telling me that the wall is 4 inches in depth, and it's also telling me off to the right-hand side that is a 90-degree dimension, meaning I'm literally parallel on one side of the wall to the other, which is exactly what I want. So I need to build a wall that's 4 inches in depth. Okay, so I'm going to hit Escape key. I'm going to go back to my wall architectural component. Do we have outside and inside the Revit library categories a wall that is 4 inches in depth? We do. It's called out as a generic 4-inch brick wall. I think I did actually build this in class, but again, I can actually select any wall, whether it's 4 inches in depth or not, and change it. But for simplicity's sake, and let's just begin building a wall, I am going to select this generic 4-inch brick wall. And immediately, what you guys will notice, I'm going to span my little properties and project browser windows a little bit wider, and I'm going to make my project browser a little bit smaller. So immediately, when you're about to build a component, there's this green area between the properties palette window and pretty much your tabs and panels. tools, and it tells you a little bit of information. So very generically, if I'm not talking about and thinking about the building height and structure, I could build a wall that is unconnected, that is going to be the height of 20 feet, which literally our cafe walls are 12 foot tall. The location line is set, again, by default to a wall center line. Chain basically means that if you build a wall, it will be connected going forward to one wall to the next, which is basically a chain reaction. I'm going to undo by hitting Control Z all of these walls. Literally, so I can get back. Again, I kind of snapped myself out of it, but there you go. Undid enough. I'm not offsetting any of these walls. I have no radius part of the walls. It's very rectilinear, these three walls. And the join status is allowing the join status, meaning from one wall to the next, they are joined and cleaned up, which is beneficial for us. And basically, this is what I did. I did change the reference, the location line to finish face exterior. And what that means is if I begin at this point here, it is basically allowing me to snap around the already existing CAD drawing. However, if it is not in alignment like this, you can use your space bar and you can get in alignment. So what's beautiful about the finished face exterior or interior, if it isn't perfectly laying out where it should be, the space bar will get you there automatically. And then literally I'm just going to snap, and I'm going to snap, and I'm just kind of tracing again my CAD file, and then I'm going to snap, and then how to end it, either right click on the mouse, but most of the time I find myself just hitting escape. And that is, in a nutshell, building a wall in Revit. Immediately when I do usually build a wall, I'm going to go here to the Quick Axis toolbar in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to select this default 3D view. And immediately, you guys can see a couple things going on. I see my CAD file back into color, tricolor, red, green, blue, standard colors. The reason for that is I did not change that CAD drawing in this view, this 3D view, so that's why you're seeing the colors come out. You are seeing my three walls. If you zoom into those walls, you're seeing that brick overlay, which wonderful. But what you're also seeing is kind of this L-shaped level. There's a level 1 and a level 2 called out. I'm going to show and talk about that next. But it looks good as far as what I see as far as the three walls that I built. I am going to, however, go back to my floor plan in my project browser to level 1. And I think what I'd like to do is just show you, what if I have a 4-inch wall and I need it to be not brick, not masonry, if you will. Again, fairly simple to do, but a couple more steps involved. So I have not saved. Let me save, Control S or the Quick Axis in the upper left. I'm going to go back to Wall Architectural. And I am going to go back. I am loaded on a basic wall, generic 4-inch brick wall. I do need the 4-inch depth wall because you can see that it is carried on throughout. However, I'm going to hit the Edit Type tool in your Properties palette on the right. And what I want to do is I want to basically copy this wall system. I'm going to copy it basically by duplicating it, and I'm going to rename it. So I'm going to hit this button here, Duplicate. It's going to pop up the window name, and obviously it's still generic, it's still 4 inches. I'm going to get rid of the word brick, and I'm going to just add my initials, which tells me as I move on in this project that I have created a duplicate of this particular wall system, and I'm going to change a little bit of the material. So I'm going to hit OK here. And how you change the material of any particularly category, but specifically this wall, is right under construction where it says structure. I am going to hit this button that says edit, and it's basically going to show me basically the core boundary, the structure of the wall. Actually, it says core boundary layers above and core boundary layers below, and then of course the structure, which is brick. I still want to keep the 4-inch thickness, if you will, but it's the brick material that I want to change out. And so when you select that little area, that cell, if you will, you'll get a 3-dot button. Go ahead and select that. it'll open up basically your material browser, and there is a default generic, it's just called default wall. It's all alphabetical. There it is, default wall. So you can look at this as just being a drywall wall that we're going to add paint to, or wall covering, or some kind of unique finish, but it'll just not show the hatching of the brick. It won't have brick applied. Kind of basically what truly the core of the cafe is. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to hit OK here. It's going to change that material to default wall, and I'm just going to hit at the button OK. In this type property window, you want to hit apply, and you want to hit OK one more time. And now when I go to build some walls, which let's move forward literally, I am going to, and again, either it is showcased properly or not. And again, I'm not going to, oh, and now here it's, again, it's not in alignment, but if I hit the space bar, it is. And again, take your time, zoom in. You are seeing here, now that I'm zoomed in so close, the line depth, or the line thickness, I should say, of the Revit walls. If that isn't allowing you to see the CAD file underneath for you to trace, which right now I'm having a little bit of that issue, at the very top of your interface in Revit, on the quick axis toolbar, there is a tool called Thin Lines. When you turn it on, it basically allows you to see both your CAD file and your Revit components as thin as possible, so nothing is obstructing you seeing any object snaps. And you guys can see that that is my Revit model wall system. I'm going to delete it so I can just redo that again. So again, wall architectural. I'm making sure that my basic wall at 4 inches, it has my initials, so that tells me that I don't have brick on it. Wonderful. And again, I'm going to retrace that. Again, if it isn't in the right position, which it wasn't, but I didn't notice right away, sorry guys, like here, go ahead and hit that space bar so that you're where you need to be. And again, wait for your object snaps. When it comes to angles, you might need to just zoom in just a little closer, so that you can snap on that point. Not always, but sometimes it wants to snap at 90 degrees versus at an angle naturally. And so again, I'm just moving in and moving in. And in scenarios like this one where the wall actually extends, let's see what happens if I go ahead and do that. Yeah, you can, these little blue grips, they allow you, you can snap on them and you can hold down to drag to extend the object, but sometimes when they are joined with other objects, sometimes that works well, sometimes it doesn't, so I always play a little game. Same thing here, I have the same thing happening with that wall. That blue grip, I'm just moving on top of it, I'm holding down, I'm dragging to the next object snap, and literally it looks like everything looks good. And again, this is where once I do build something, I save, and I'm immediately going into the 3D view. Once you select the 3D view once in your project browser, you're going to have literally a 3D view option. Hit the little plus and you can double click the 3D option immediately. I want to point out, as you guys build your walls, anywhere there is a door location, you want to basically build your wall right through that door opening, just like we did in SketchUp, because again, we're going to be looking at the next video in placing a door, and when we place doors in Revit, they know how to place, they know how to break open the opening. It's part of the parametric building, or I should say the BIM, building information modeling, and it's a wonderful thing to kind of see. So I'm going to let you guys move forward with building the rest of the walls up. Not all the walls are 4 inches, some of them are a little deeper, so again, distance, and then try to find the most generic wall depth that you can with generic materials. And you guys can see, if you're playing a game like I, with zooming in, zooming out, ZA always gets you back on track, but again, this zoom to fit also helps if that matters. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to cut this video. We focused in on walls. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you like the video. Let me know if this was helpful or if you want me to add anything to it. I appreciate it all, and I will see you soon. And thank you very much. Ciao.